No, before that, I volunteered in church. I think that is also where the seed, I also planted the seed of being a contractor. I recall the church, I used to go to a church called Deliverance Church, and they were building a wall. So I became a member, I volunteered to assist in the building of that wall. So that I can, my thinking was that as long as I'm in the engineering space, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, but I don't deviate much from the space. So building, I was doing that. I was able to supervise and also assist in the building of the church wall as part of, because I just wanted to know the basics, the industry, that hands-on experience. Even in one of my, besides that big job, I just mentioned the big ticket job that changed the life. But before that, I was a master in floor sanding. I could put posters somewhere. That time the penetration of internet and everything. So we could use the old method of putting posters. You say what you do, you go and plaster your poster somewhere. So people used to call me. I used to say I was a jack of all trades in that space. And I could not refuse to do any work. I could say that I could do it. So sometimes I could do floor sanding. I recall there was one house I did floor sanding. I think it was in Lavington, where I only made a profit of 1,000 bob. In the entire, but there were so many overheads. I didn't have floor sanding machine. I had to even look for somebody who does floor sanding through the yellow pages. If you can recall the yellow pages. So that one, and then also, I was also a painter, not painting literally, but I could get contracts for painting. I recall doing a lot of painting work in Utawala. In this Utawala. And that time the Eastern Bypass was not there. So I wish even at that time I was more wiser in I would have bought even maybe things there in Utawala. Now the area has changed drastically because we could get paint and then also walk with those paints, because that area, it had a lot of black cotton soil, it was inaccessible. People were just starting to build in those areas. So there's a lot of information and things that we have done in the background that maybe perhaps I cannot be able to enumerate in this short interview. Okay, in the ministry, we were posted in the structures, bridges. It was called bridges section. And initially we were, from the information we used to hear, was like the bridges section was very difficult for people who were starting there. But we took it in stride. We were positive. Personally, I was positive. We were, I think, 6 of us there, assistant engineers, and we could sit in a hall-like setup. But the beauty of the bridges section was that it grounded us so much in the engineering aspect of structures, and we were able to learn quite a lot to be able to design. It is at even that time that I was able to get a design that enabled me to register later, and also it accorded me the opportunity to go around the country, because it was the one-stop section for all bridges in the country. And that time we didn't have the roads authority, so all things were there, whether the things that have been handled like by Kera, Kura, and Kena now, they were all to be done under the bridges section. So we could get requests from all corners of the country. And then after some time, our boss had known our capability, so he had entrusted us with assignments. We could go to the ground, gather the relevant data, come design, and then send the designs to the various districts. There were districts at that time. But one highlight that was, even I can state, is memorable in my life, even not only bridges, but my professional life as an engineer, is when I was in that bridges. There was an inventory of structures that we were to do across the country, and luckily, me and a few friends, we were assigned to go and do inventory at the coast region. That was, we were to do Mombasa, we were to do Kilifi, Kwale, and Taita Taveta. And I'd never been to Mombasa. You can imagine, that time we were well funded, and it was my first time to be in Mombasa. So we did all the We visited all the roads, nearly all the roads, both national trunk road and all classes up to E. At the course where we were looking at the inventory, we checked the condition of the bridges. We used to go under. We could go under the bridges, look at how the bridges are, the condition, what is it, how many beams it had, the general information, key them in a certain software, and plus also observed. It was a very interesting exercise because there are some sections that we could go. You could even very dangerous because the snakes could be there. Some places even maybe there were toilets. Others were bathrooms. Very interesting stuff. At this early onset, I will urge each engineer to, young, old, to look for a mentor, to have always a mentor, an accountability partner. I was lucky to get very good engineers who worked with me when I was still a young engineer. There was one engineer in particular. We had engineer Stanley Mowasi, and he was the one who was our boss at Structures. And I recall he recalibrated our mindset at an early stage whereby he could urge us to think big. So the importance of a mentor, the person you encounter first in your career can determine the trajectory that you take as an engineer, the level of standards that you will also be able to uphold as we go along. And then also when I was still there in Bridges, there were some reshuffles, and there was a new unit called Northern Corridor Transport Improvement Program that was a World Bank funded program that was working on rehabilitating the Northern Corridor from Mombasa, Nairobi to Malaba. And at that time, we were able to meet seniors like Engineer Kari Orege, Engineer Samuel Omer, Engineer David Muchidwa. And they really also honed our skills and shepherded us in a way that we appreciate to date in terms of what they were able to do to us as we were growing up. And more importantly, when we went to that Northern Corridor, I can state that it was also one of the one that also made us, personally I say it made me to be who I am, because the level of interactions we were having with the donors, with the consultants, the documentation, the high level of documentation, report writing, that one has really helped me to date.